So in this video we are in the IONIQ 5 from Hyundai, and I thought it'd be a good opportunity to actually do a full sort of overview of the driver zone, the cockpit, the dual screen setup, and all the steering wheel controls, just so you know what's going on here. So basically it is quite busy. You've got a lot of controls on the steering wheel, starting with the drive mode, so you can switch between eco mode for the most economical and efficient drive, moving to normal and sport, and the graphics change and the predicted range changes, as you can see, as you cycle between modes. You've then got controls up here for the voice recognition system, which is linked to your smartphone mirroring. You've got volume controls and a mute button, and look, confusingly I thought that these were part of this little plastic surround, because this presses in too, but it turns out you actually have to press these silver buttons, and look, they're quite nice to use. You've got a mode button which can be configured, but it is generally for the stereo media switching, and you can then scroll with tracks up and down, radio stations or tracks on Spotify, that sort of thing. There's a phone button here, pick up, hang up calls, that sort of thing, and a configurable, customizable button. No Hyundai badge on the steering wheel, as you can see, which is quite a nice touch. Over here you've got controls for the driver information screen right in front of you. So the page button, which is this one here, cycles through driver information, navigation and compass, tyre pressure, battery regeneration info, and your attention level based on driver inputs, and adaptive cruise control display. The one with the arrows and the OK button, again, it's not on the inside here, which you can still press, but it is this one up and down that scrolls through like that. Cruise control is here. It's pretty simple to use. You press it once to activate smart cruise control, press again to cancel and activate the regular cruise control. You've then got buttons here for accelerating or decelerating the stored speed in single kilometre an hour, or hold it up and you get 10 kilometre an hour increments. So if you're at 60, you want to go to 70, just hold it up, it'll go 70, 80, 90, that sort of thing. This turns on the rather intrusive lane keep assist. We'll get into that in the full review. And this is the distance for the radar cruise control, so you can set 1 car length, 2 car lengths, up to 4 car lengths. Other controls on the steering wheel driver zone, you've got obviously adjustment for height and reach. And you've got 2 paddles back here. Now these paddles, like in all other Hyundai products, are for brake regeneration, so you can customize them from I-pedal, which is one pedal driving, down to no regeneration at all. So if you want the car to feel like a traditional ICE car, we might just, oh, it was on. We'll just start up, pop it in drive. You can see it's now saying level 2, level 1, and regen off. You can go all the way with the left pedal to I pedal, where it will come to a complete stop. You can see also here steering, active steering, and cruise control. So this driver information zone is nice to look at. It's white as standard. You can make it black. It is very busy though, and I think, most people I've spoken to who've sat in this car and seen it, they think that there's just too much going on here. You've got a reasonably sized speed display, but you've then got this giant graph representation of your speed, which is totally unnecessary in my view. You've then got the range over here, and another giant graph showing you when you're drawing power from the battery, or when you're actually regenerating power and putting that back into the battery. Now that takes up a huge amount of real estate on the screen. Is it necessary? I don't know. Does it look cool? Yes. But yeah, jury's out on that one. Auto hold down here for the car holding the system's holding the car at a traffic light or something when you come to a stop. Seatbelt warnings, tells you whether the car's ready. Battery state of charge and a graphic display. You've got your kilowatt hour per 100 kilometre graph down here, as well as an actual readout. Odometer, and then all your safety, driver assistance things, current speed limit, which is often wrong, and what gear you're in. So there's a lot going on. Is it all necessary? No, but this is what Hyundai's chosen to do. In terms of other controls, headlight controls, just adjust focus down here. These are really nice. They're a really nicely finished metallicized knob, really chunky and hefty, and when you adjust them, it actually comes up on the screen telling you what adjustment you've made, which is a nice touch because it means that you don't necessarily have to look down at the stalk. Obviously, also another Hyundai Kia thing, when you indicate, you get these great blind spot cameras that pop up here, and I understand Tesla has also just brought these out in a recent update because they've already got the hardware. They can just make it happen, but I think these guys thought of it first. And then we go down here and we've got your drive controller. So again, a nice metallicized kind of plastic finish. Park is on the end. Twist forward for drive, twist back for reverse, and just a small twist for neutral there. Doesn't move up or down like a stalk, but it's kind of out of the way, which is good. You don't need that to be right in the driver's line of sight. Down here, we've got some controls that I often forget about. You've got an internal release for the rear trunk, or rear boot, sorry, and the tailgate. You can turn off traction control, and oddly for a car with full LED headlights, you've got a headlight range adjustment up or down to adjust the leveling. You've also got the auto hold button to engage or disengage that, and the parking brake, which obviously comes on and off automatically when you engage drive, but you can control it manually there. Then you've got this magnetic little board thing that Hyundai likes to spruik. You can put a picture of your family or your other car there if you like. Memory seat controls, the usual folding mirror button, mirror adjustment, nice metallicized plastic buttons, window controls, and a child lock. Then you've got these rather large door handles which have a nice kind of dimpled finish on the other side. Mood lighting down there, I don't know if you can see that on the speaker grills. Let me just up the ISO, the purple down there. And then this paperette finish on the doors. Nice dark teal leather or synthetic leather, and this orange stitching. I really like the way the dash kind of folds in here as well around the doors. Over this side, you've got another nice metallicized knob for the wipers, and again that also displays up on the dash when you make an adjustment. So let's delve into the main infotainment system screen shared by driver and passenger. When you unlock the car and you get in, you should get a welcome screen. No, it's not going to do it. Anyway, this is the main screen that comes up. You've got, it's quite a nice design home screen, so you've got a lot of information just to hand. You've got the outside temperature, current media being played, and that changes to Android Auto or CarPlay if you adjust that. Battery state of charge and your range, and a nice kind of map blended into the graphics here, as well as the time. And profiles can be customized and chosen up there. Now this screen is simply swipe to touch. It's a nice matte finish, so reflections are non-existent, which is great. It's reasonably responsive, which is also very good. There's little latency, but it is very much the same setup that you have in all the other internal combustion engine Genesis, Kia, Hyundai products. So it's not as state-of-the-art as it could be. So what am I talking about? You go in here, you look at navigation, and there's a lot of options, right? Like there's a lot that you have to do. You can store favorites, but if you want to find an address, I found it very hard to just go to a city or something. So I'm in Canberra at the moment. If I want to go to Sydney, I have to go New South Wales, Sydney. I don't know the street, I just want to go to the centre and hit OK. Then I have to choose Sydney, into street. I don't want the street. No, I have to put in a street. I don't find it to be a very user-friendly system, and I don't think people who are getting into an EV for the first time, or a very tech-heavy car for the first time, will find this a very endearing system. When you do finally manage to actually input an address, and let's do that now. It's forgotten everything that we had in there. I'll just put in Clarence Street. Sure, let's go to Lidcombe, no worries. I don't want a street number. Skip. There it is. So it shows you your current state of charge. It shows you nearby stations, but I still need to hit set as destination to actually start the navigation. This nearby stations thing is not terribly useful. It shows me there's a fast charger at Dixon. I don't believe that that's actually a fast charger with a cable. I think that's a BYO cable one. So again, for someone who's getting into an EV for the first time, the car as it comes is not going to give you all information that you need to actually successfully and competently drive and charge to a destination that's a long way away. Let's go set as destination. It will tell you if the range is within the scope of possibility with your destination. You can see you've got this blue halo. So it's saying that I can actually get to my destination in one go. So all I do, I'll choose the recommended route, and here it comes up here on this screen showing me the route. Now if you want to look for charging stations en route, I'll hit search stations. I can go along route, and it's found Dixon and Goulburn, so that's not too bad. So what I can do, I can route in this ChargeFox station on the way to my destination, and it's going to pop that in there. Now we'll get into this later, but there's no battery preconditioning in this, so if you input a charging station into the navigation, it's not going to optimize the battery temperature for the optimal charging speeds. So coming out of the navigation menu, you've got EV. So EV menu allows you to very quickly see your current range with and without AC there. You can also set a departure time and a target temperature if you're plugged in and you want to have the car, say, warmed before you go. You can also adjust how much draw the V2L can take from the battery. And you have this split screen option, so you can have your media or compass or time or whatever, and maps also here in this screen. You can turn that off as well, obviously. There's a lot going on in here. See, there's all these sub-menus that come up. If I click that, I can then go into eco driving and see a bit of a summary of my consumption, but it's not like the Tesla where you can actually see across your trip the projected range and how you're going against that projected range and efficiency. So that's a bit of a downside. While we're on the left hand side, and something else I'll actually mention is that in my seating position I've got longer legs. I like to sit far back. It's very hard to reach over here. I actually have to lean forward, and it's quite uncomfortable, unlike in the Model 3, the Polestar, the Kona, that sort of thing. So I love this living room concept interior, but it's not quite as functional when you have to stretch all the way over here to this left side of the screen. Maybe I've just got puny arms. Climate allows you to adjust climate settings and things like that. So you've got this touch panel down here to quickly adjust temperature, fan speed, that sort of thing. But you can also access it from the touch screen. One thing that you can do, you can select driver only. So if it's only you in the car, you can actually reduce the draw on the battery by just cooling or heating one side of the car. Again, if you don't want to use these buttons down here, you can adjust the temperature with these sliders, but it's not ideal. There's a lot of other settings for the climate control. There's things like smart ventilation, auto dehumidify, auto defog. The car is also very good at setting the recirculation before you're about to hit a tunnel or if it detects pollutants. So that's a really cool feature. Things like heated seats, though, are quite annoying to get to. So I'd love to have a button down here that's just heated seats, bang. But instead, you've got to go into climate, you've got to go into front seat heating, as we just went into there, or heating ventilation, and then you've got to drag this up and down while you're trying to drive. So too many steps. They've given you hard buttons for tuning the radio station or for switching to media or map rather, but I would like to have climate settings as hard buttons on the console rather than these things here, which I'll never use. So just a little tip for Hyundai. I think Audi is the only manufacturer at the moment that has really been able to integrate hard buttons into its EVs in the e-tron GT, which is coming to Australia next year. Let's get out of climate. What else is in climate? You can adjust the rear heating from here, which is cool. So adjust the heated seats from the front if you need to. So if you're a micromanager, you can actually control the temperature in the back for people. Radio, media, you've got obviously Bluetooth audio streaming. radio, digital audio radio here. Phone comes up here. Phone projection allows you to connect your Android or Apple device, and it works reasonably quickly, which is good. There we go, ready to go. Jump into Android Auto. Unfortunately, Android Auto, you don't get full screen. Turn that down. You don't get full screen, so you've got this bar coming up here, but you've got a nice satellite view. You've got all your Android apps. You've got things like a better route planner. You've got things like PlugShare, which come up here, and all your audio, podcasting apps, things like that, calendar, and you've even got games in Game Snacks now, which is really cool. So there's a few fun sort of 2D games, and 3D games that are available through Android Auto. Memory seat configurations. You can actually adjust different settings for both front and rear seats, and you can save them. Voice memo. You can store and save recordings if you have things that you want to say to the world. Let's dive into the settings menu. So this is pretty complex. So go into vehicle first up. All your vehicle system settings and things are in here. So if you look at it, if you want to quickly adjust something on the road, you've got to hit settings, you go vehicle, then you've got to find in these small menus which thing you want, and then you've got to scroll up and down and then find it in here. So driver assistance has controls for smart cruise control, speed limit warnings, warning timing, warning volume, and haptic warning, so whether it vibrates or not, just to let you know that, say, you've strayed from your lane. And you can turn on and off all the active safety systems, which work reasonably well in this car. Things like the blind spot warning and the cross traffic alert actually work really, really well. Smart cruise control is actually based on driving style, or you can link it to eco, comfort, or sport modes. And this will actually analyze your driving style. It'll show you how you accelerate, how close you follow to other cars, and how responsive you are as a driver. Now, drive mode, you can customize the braking in the drive mode, and you can also customize climate control in eco mode. In eco vehicle, you can change the deceleration standard. You can obviously always change it with the paddles, but you can say set in eco mode, I want to have strong deceleration as the default. You can also adjust whether the charging connector locks and whether there's any annoying voice outside the car to tell you you're charging. And I keep turning that off, but it keeps coming on. It's very annoying. It actually says start charging when you plug it in. So that wasn't the vehicle, because there's a heap more. You can configure the instrument cluster. You can choose white or black. Somewhere in here. You can choose what comes onto the instrument cluster, but you can't configure all these things. You can't pair it right back. You can see the service interval here. In climate, there are more climate settings here that are available in the climate menu. Seat controls, heating, ventilation, easy access on or off, whether the seat slides back when you get out or in. Lights, you can change the ambient light color. You can change the indicators, how long they flash for when you just tap them. You can change the brightness of the ambient light, whether it's dimmed while driving, or whether it's linked to the mode that you're currently set for driving. You can also choose a custom color, so the speakers and the doors are what actually lights up. You can choose any color in this little wheel here, reds, blues, greens, purples, or you can set a custom color. In the door menu, you can choose whether auto lock is enabled, whether auto unlock is enabled, and whether the approach unlock is enabled. So that actually opens the door handles and the mirrors when you walk up to the vehicle with the key. You can change the speed of the tailgate, and you can change the height of the tailgate when it opens. One really cool feature is the smart tailgate. So instead of having to press the button or swipe randomly under the car like a lot of other cars have, you can actually just approach the car and stand there with the smart key. It will realize you want to put something in and it will pop the tailgate. And convenience has just things like the welcome mirrors, whether wireless charging is enabled or disabled. I don't know why you'd want to turn that off. And whether or not it reminds you to check the rear seats for other passengers, just in case you forget your baby. Navigation settings, everything you need there for alerts and map information, zoom information. You can change how it displays everything in the navigation. You can turn the guidance on or off. Sound is all your sound controls for your equalizer, for your balance, for your fader, that sort of thing. And the volume of the driver assistance warnings and that sort of thing. Phone connection is settings for your phone. You can remove or add devices. You can change privacy systems, that sort of thing. There are customizable options for CarPlay and Android Auto, which don't seem to work. Profile, you can add or change profiles. You can change the theme. You can have white or black layouts. A lot of people might like this at night. I kind of prefer the white theme with the light interior. And you can have a clock screensaver when the system is actually fully switched off. And you can choose what actually appears in this split screen setup. Pop into display there, change the brightness. You can have a blue light filter like your phone or laptop, which is pretty cool. So at night it makes things more orange so it's easier on the eyes. Button allows you to customize the steering wheel and the center console star buttons here, but again you're limited by what you can actually store in that. Personally, I'd like the EV mode to be the main one that allows me to jump quickly to range and car info. So thanks so much for joining me for this look at the infotainment, driver settings and information in the Hyundai IONIQ 5. On the whole, it's a fine system. It's not as revolutionary as it perhaps looks. It is based on existing software from Kia Hyundai, and it is not quite as functional as what Tesla offers, or I would say as user-friendly for first-timers as what Polestar offers in its Android automotive-based system. But this does do the job. There are some quirks. The navigation and charging information in this could use a big upgrade, but it's okay. Luckily, you do have smartphone mirroring for Android and Apple, so most drivers of this car will probably heavily rely on their smartphones for information around mapping, messaging, calendars, and use apps like a Better Route Planner and PlugShare for EV charging information. But I am disappointed that Hyundai doesn't include that as comprehensively as it perhaps should. Thanks so much for joining me on EV Brief today. If you've got any questions or comments, you know where to put them, just down below, and we'll see you next time.